Mangalacharanam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Venerable Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunatha Dasa, Raghunatha Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhara, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishakha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chapter 1. This chapter describes Nandishvara Hill. Let me glorify Vrajabhumi, the place where Sri Krishna enjoys transcendental pastimes. Simply by drinking with their ears the nectarean descriptions of Vrajabhumi, the liberated souls abandon the bliss of impersonal Brahman and yearn to attain the land of Vraja. Verse 2. With a pure heart, let me worship Vrajabhumi, which is the very form of the sweetness of meditation on Sri Krishna, which is eternal, transcendental, blissful, and fearless, and which, although it cannot be understood by ordinary people, is easily understood by its residents. Verse 3. A poet's poem becomes famous because of the quality of its being poetic. I shall boldly declare that this poem of mine is the most poetic and best of all poems, for it glorifies the transcendental land of Vraja. I yearn to be able to write as well as Lord Chaitanya's Rupa Goswami, but I cannot write as well as he, and neither can I write as well as his followers, who wrote many wonderful, perfect books which everyone should read and remember. Compared to their books, my little book can hardly be considered poetic. Verse 5. Millions of material universes and even millions of spiritual Vaikuntha planets are not very significant in comparison to Vrindavana, where Sri Krishna enjoyed lunch with his friends on the Yamuna's sandy bank, along with many other transcendental pastimes. Verse 6. Sri Krishna's friends and associates who enjoy pastimes with him as equals reside in this perfectly spiritual abode of Vrindavana. All these associates of the Lord have spiritual bodies, although their forms and activities may appear ordinary and material to the conditioned souls. These associates of the Lord are enchanted by Lord Krishna's charming pastimes in Vraja. Verse 8. Although their forms and actions are filled with spiritual knowledge, the people of Vraja know Krishna as their friend and relative, an ordinary person. This is not at all sufficing. Verse 9. Although they are the most exalted by the influence of the potency of pure devotion to the Lord, they think themselves the most lowly and insignificant. I have with my own eyes seen how the people of Vraja think themselves ordinary, even though the great saints worship them. Verse 10. Defeated by their humbleness, Sri Krishna eternally enjoys pastimes in their midst. In their presence, he manifests a limitless flood of the sweetness of the most confidential transcendental melody. Verse 11. Although it may appear to be material, the opulent sweet nectar shower of Lord Krishna's pastimes is worshipped by the great devotees. Verse 12. I pray that by the mercy of its inconceivable residents, I will attain the place that bears the auspicious names Vrndavana, Gokul Dham, Goshtha, and Vraja. Verse 13. Vrindavana cannot be understood by conditioned souls, for although it may appear to be material, all its villages, forests, and cow pastures are perfectly spiritual. Verse 14. Some portion of transcendental Vrindavana becomes visible in this world at the time of Lord Krishna's manifest pastimes. Conditioned souls think Vrindavana is material, although actually it is spiritual and beyond their ability to understand or describe. Verse 15. The devotees declare that Nandishvara Hill, the form of Lord Shiva now shining as Nanda Maharaja's capital, is an endlessly beautiful crown decorating Vrindavana. Verse 16. On its eastern, northern, and southern sides, people free from all unhappiness reside. On its summit is Nanda Maharaja's palace, which the Puranas describe as having existed since ancient times. Verse 17. Nanda Maharaja's capital is enclosed by a great wall built of sapphires. The homes within the capital are made of emeralds with coral pillars, golden roofs, and crystal windows. Verse 18. Nanda Maharaja's palace is made of glistening sapphires with lapis lazuli roofs and large gates that are made of rubies. Verse 19. In the center of Nanda Maharaja's palace is a courtyard. The royal treasury is in the western part, Lord Balaram's residence is in the northern part, and Lord Krishna's residence is in the southern part of the palace. Verse 20. In the eastern part of the palace is a temple where, in order to obtain auspiciousness for his son, Nanda Maharaja serves his deity, Sri Narayana. Verse 21. South of the treasury and west of Lord Krishna's residence is the little kitchen where Sri Radhika enjoys cooking pastimes. Verse 22. South of Krishna's residence and the kitchen is a secluded garden where there is a pleasant lake and many hidden courtyards and cottages. Verse 23. The cowherds' many beautiful homes rest on two sides, and Nandishvara Hill is splendidly manifest behind them. Lord Shiva repeatedly offers respectful obeisances to the hill. Verse 24. Each cowherd's home is surrounded by an impassable jewel wall, with many jewel entranceways and many gates studded with pearls and other jewels. 25. Seeing these cowherd men's homes, human beings proclaim them more wonderful than the residences of the demigods. Devatas proclaim them more wonderful than the residences in Vaikuntha, and the Vaikuntha-vasis proclaim them more wonderful than the sweetest nectar. Verse 26. Within the walls of each cowherd man's compound were the homes of gatekeepers, priests, and other associates. Verse 27. Around the cowherd men's homes are many other houses, a marketplace, and roads leading in many directions. Verse 28. Near the entrances of the city are many crossroads lined with strings of marketplaces. Verse 29. In these marketplaces are many stores where jewel necklaces, splendid flags, pearl necklaces, and blossomed flower gardens as large as trees are offered for sale. Verse 30. Filled with fragrant spring flowers, these marketplaces are like many hills of aromatic substances. Verse 31. There is a jeweller's shop glistening as a mine full of precious gems, and there are other shops where aromatic substances such as musk and kumkuma are sold. Verse 32. I shall now describe the bliss of Sri Vrndavana Dham, just as Paramananda Kavikarnapura has done in his book Ananda Vrindavana Champu, and many other great poets have also done in their books, as if playing sweet music with their words. Although I am not qualified to describe Vrindavana, I shall attempt to describe a little bit of it, just as someone not trained in music may strum a lute and pick out a few melodic fragments here and there. Verse 33. When the Vrajavasis say the word Matsara, they do not mean envy, but they mean my lake. When they say Kala, they do not mean demon, but a woman's sash. When they say Mala, they do not mean defect, but gentle and delicate. In this way, they never speak anything unpleasant, but everything they say is pleasing and auspicious. Verse 34. When the Vrajavasis say the word Pradosha, they do not mean fault, but rather evening. When they say Doshatara, they do not mean rascal, but moon. When they say Rosha, they do not mean anger, but love. When they say Mosha, they do not mean a cruel thief, but Krishna's playfully stealing the gopis' yogurt. In this way, they never speak anything unpleasant, but everything they say is pleasing and auspicious. Verse 35. When the Vrajavasis say the word Danda, they do not mean the king's rod of chastisement, but rather the handle of a parasol, chamara fan, or other similar article. When they say Nivi, they do not mean handcuffs, but a ribbon for tying the hair. When they say Adhi, they do not mean headache, but ecstatic meditation on the personality of Godhead. In this way, they never speak anything unpleasant, but everything they say is pleasing and auspicious. Verse 36. When the Vrajavasis say the word Panka, they do not mean mud, but they mean aromatic ointments, such as musk, kunkuma, and sandalwood paste. When they say crookedness, they do not mean the crookedness of a thief, but the beautiful shape of spiral earrings or some other ornament. When they say hardness, they do not mean the hard-heartedness of a cruel person, but the hardness of a gem or stone. In this way, they never speak anything unpleasant, but everything they say is pleasing and auspicious. Verse 37. When the Vrajavasis say the word Rajaha, they do not mean material passion, but they mean the pollen of flowers. When they say Tamaha, they do not mean ignorance, but the pleasant darkness of night. When they say Dvam, they do not mean the material dualities of happiness and distress, but a happy couple. When they say slowness, they do not refer to the intellect, but they refer to the wind. When they say restlessness, they do not mean anything inauspicious, but rather a great eagerness to see Lord Hari, or else the charmingly restless glances of the Lord. In this way, they never speak anything unpleasant, but everything they say is pleasing and auspicious. When the Vrajavasis say the word smallness, they do not refer to the lack of anything good, but rather to a slender waist. When they say Nichagatvam, they do not mean faith in rascals, but a stream that can be easily crossed. When they say the words lamentation, humility, fatigue, bewilderment, sleep, and laziness, they do not mean any inauspicious material traits, but rather the various symptoms of ecstatic love of God. In this way, they never speak anything unpleasant, but everything they say is pleasing and auspicious. Verse 39. When the Vrajavasis say the word cows, they refer to the celestial Kamadhenu cows. When they say trees, they mean Kalpavriksha trees that fulfill all desires. When they say rocks, they mean Cintamani gems. How is it possible to describe the limitless opulences of Vraja? Verse 40. When the personified Vedas saw the splendid good fortune of the Vraja gopis, they decided to follow in their footsteps and become gopis also. When Lakshmi Devi saw the charming sweetness of the Vraja gopis, she became bewildered and fainted with envy. Who can describe the transcendental opulences of this land of Vraja? Verse 41. Filled with pure transcendental love, the Vrajavasis considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead their intimate friend or relative. Although they were all liberated transcendental personalities, they appeared just like ordinary conditioned souls. What is not wonderful in this? Verse 42. The Vrajavasis are filled with auspicious spiritual qualities. They have no material attributes. What may even seem to be faults on their part are actually auspicious and spiritual when seen in connection to their transcendental rasa with Krishna. Seeing this wonderful condition of the residents of Nanda Maharaja's Vrajabhumi, the personified three modes of material nature have become embarrassed. They have relinquished all their pride in being able to control others. Verse 43. The fact that the Vraja devotees are eternally filled with all spiritual virtues and are always free from material defects, or, in other words, free from the influence of the three modes of nature, is confirmed by many statements of the Smritis, Itihasas, Puranas and Vedas. Someone may ask, if Sri Krishna's pastimes are all eternal, then why do some people think that they are temporary? The devotees who are learned in transcendental science reply, these matters are very confidential, and Sri Krishna is unwilling to allow unqualified non-devotees to understand them. For this reason, he conceals the truth from them. Verse 45. Supremely fortunate, the personified deity of parental love, whose form is purely spiritual, namely the king of Vraja, Sri Nanda, lives there in his capital city. Verse 46. Sri Nanda, who is Krishna's father and the king of Vraja, is a liberated soul in a perfectly spiritual body. All the Vrajavasis love him as if he were their own father. Verse 47. Staying in Nanda's home is his pious wife Yashoda Devi, who is the personified nectar of the treasure of parental love, and who is like a spiritual Kalpavalli vine that has borne as its fruit the precious gem known as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 48. Sri Yashoda, who bestows the universal fame, Yashaha, and who is filled with the nectar bliss of a mother's love for Sri Krishna, once angrily bound him with a rope. In this way she made Krishna's happiness and her wonderful love increase. Verse 49. Countless cowherd people live in Vraja. Some are intimate relatives of King Nanda, and others have barely a scent of family tie with him. All of them, however, are full of love for Lord Mukunda. Verse 50. The saintly cowherd men of Vraja are just like personified forms of devotional service, and their wives are also constantly engaged in Krishna's service. Some of their sons are Krishna's friends, and some of their daughters are Krishna's lovers. Verse 51. Krishna's contemporary friends are his equals in all respects, and they are all eternally young boys, just like the four Kumaras. What is impossible for they who have dedicated their hearts to Krishna? Verse 52. Some friends are considered very confidential, and some fortunate friends perform confidential services. Subala, Ujjvala, and some splendid others who are as good as the gopis are rich with the sight of Krishna's splendid conjugal pastimes. Verse 53. All of Sri Krishna's gopi beloveds are splendidly beautiful. A millionth part of a single ray of light from their lotus toenails defeats the shining of millions of moons. The waves of the ocean of their incomparable glory and supreme good fortune have drowned the Vedas. Verse 54. Even Lakshmi Devi was not able to attain a tiny fragment of the mercy which the gopis attained. Srila Shukadev Goswami confirmed this in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 47, verse 60. Translation. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa-Leela, the gopis were embraced by the arms of the Lord. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, or the other consorts in the spiritual world. Indeed, never was such a favor even imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, whose bodily luster and aroma resemble those of lotus flowers, and what to speak of worldly women who are very beautiful according to the material estimation. Verse 55. Even the youngest gopi could not renounce pastimes with the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 33, verse 19 says, translation, Krishna, the Supreme Mystic, expanded himself in many forms and stood beside each gopi. He began to dance in their midst. Verse 56. Enchanted by their transcendental virtues, the Supreme Personality of Godhead enjoyed pastimes with the gopis. The gopis were also enchanted by the Lord's transcendental virtues, and they worshipped him with full concentration. Verse 57. Just like a jewel necklace of virtues crowning the head of the gopis, or a golden ketaki flower in the garden of gopis, who are blinded with love for Krishna, or like a glittering lightning flash beside the dark cloud of Sri Krishna's sweetness, Sri Vrishabhanu's daughter is most splendidly manifest. Verse 58. Maharaja Vrishabhanu's daughter is the moonlight of transcendental bliss. Her beauty enchants Sri Krishna, the enchanter of Lakshmi. She is a golden streak on the black testing stone named Sri Krishna's handsomeness. Verse 59. Sri Radhika is the sweetest nectar, churned from the ocean of transcendental beauty. She is the realm of transcendental artistic talent. She is the mine filled with the jewels of all transcendental auspicious virtues. She is the celebrated lover of Sri Krishna, the moon of Vraja. Verse 60. More fair than thousands of fair-complexioned girls, celebrated in the Vedas as being dark with the intensity of her beauty, her form exquisitely beautiful, and herself the very life-breath of the gopis, Sri Radha is splendidly manifest. Verse 61. Sri Radhika is the lover of Sri Krishna, the moon of Vraja. Some say she is the supreme goddess of fortune, and others say the Tantras describe her as the pastime potency, Leela Shakti of the Lord. The masters of the Shruti Shastra say she is the pleasure potency, Anandini Shakti of the Lord. Verse 62. All his potencies, all his pastimes, all his qualities, all his handsomeness, sweetness, expertise, and other virtues fully under her dominion, Krishna's lover, Sri Radhika, shines with great splendor. Verse 63. Krishna's lover, Sri Radhika, who enjoys endless, eternal, sweet, splendidly amorous pastimes with him, shines with great splendor. Verse 64. Sri Radhika, who is sweeter even than Sri Krishna, who is himself flooded with handsomeness, virtues, pastimes, and sweetness, shines with great splendor. Verse 65. When she sees Lalita, Vishakha, and her other friends, Sri Radha proudly thinks they are every bit as beautiful, virtuous, and dear to Krishna as she is, and she becomes filled with happiness. Verse 66. Shyama Gopi is famous for both her virtues and her friendship with Sri Radha. With sweet affection, she constantly strives to keep Radha's friendship. Verse 67. One day, Radha and Shyama met and together skillfully fashioned various garments and ornaments. When these articles were given to Sri Krishna Chandra, he asked who had made them. Shyama replied that Radha made them all herself, and Radha insisted that Shyama made them unassisted. Verse 68. So deeply in love were they. Krishna's lovers completely ignored society's continued contempt. This is certainly very wonderful. Verse 69. The exalted Brahmanas in Vraja are the personifications of pure religion. Some preach the religion of the Vedas and some follow the Pancharatras. Verse 70. These Brahmanas all receive generous charity from the king of Vraja and perform Vedic sacrifices on his behalf. Some of them are enchanted by the transcendental opulence and some by the intense sweetness of the young prince of Vraja. Verse 71. The betel nuts, scented oils, flower garlands and other paraphernalia which the Vrajavasis offer to Sri Krishna are perfectly spiritual, even though offered by human beings. Even the demigods in heaven cannot attain love like that these human beings bear for Sri Krishna, the moon of Vraja. Verse 72. In Vraja, the Surabhi cow barns have crystal walls, enormous gold pillars and emerald roof beams. Verse 73. The roofs are made of various jewels and rubies mark the places where the roof beams meet the pillars of the walls. Verse 74. White as the deity of goddess Saraswati and sober and grave as great ascetics, splendid Surabhi cows wander in the courtyards of these barns. Verse 75. These Surabhi cows are just like Cintamani jewels that fulfill all desires. Their happy calves are like pleasant summers. Their mooing is the most beautiful poetry. They lift their ears to hear the sound of Krishna's flute. Verse 76. The calves look as if they might be the moving rocks on the peak of Mount Kailash or the infant children of the moonlight. Verse 77. As they wander over the earth, the calves are like the milk ocean's bubbles, Lord Shiva's chuckles, or Mansa Pinda offerings made in pure goodness. Verse 78. Are these great boulders from the crystal mountain? Are they tidal waves from the milk ocean? No, these are the bulls of Vraja. During the day they freely wander just as liberated souls, and during the evening they sit peacefully at home just as great sages do, wrapped in contemplation. Verse 79. Proudly moving from the depths of those loose folds of skin about their necks, Vraja's bulls look like old sannyasis. Then again, their reddish stares make them look like intoxicated persons. Verse 80. South of Nandishvara, on a regal hilltop, is Maharaja Vrishabhanu's home, which is like a brother to Maharaja Nanda's home. Verse 81. Maharaja Nanda and Maharaja Vrishabhanu are both equal in regal splendor and power. Their capitals are similar, and their son and daughter are equally famous. Verse 82. Midway between Nandishvara Hill and Vrishabhanu Hill is Sanketa, the place of Radha Krishna's rendezvous. I meditate on this place. I think it is the personification of the divine couple's love. Verse 83. To the north of Nandishvara Hill is the district of Viduhridya, where the town of Yavata is located. That populous town is like the crown jewel of all jewel-like towns, and it is the home of Srimati Radharani's parents-in-law. Verse 84. This town of Yavata was built by Maharaja Vrishabhanu for the pleasure of his daughter. She would often sit on the roof of her palace and gaze at the direction of her lover's home, and in the same way he would also gaze at the direction of Yavatapura. Verse 85. Anxious and deferential in the presence of their elderly relatives, the divine couple would slip away and upon their palace roofs gaze in each other's direction. Verse 86. the place where Krishna would secretly meet his beloved under a charming banyan tree, but happily enjoy pastimes with her, and anoint her feet with red lac, yava, is named Yavata. Verse 87. By the mercy of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, and my spiritual master, this book, a brief description of the Lord's splendid abode and nectarian pastimes, has been written. The Sri Vrajabhumi Cintamani's first chapter, which describes Nandishvara Hill for the transcendental delight of the entire world, is now concluded. Footnote. This verse is like a kaleidoscope. Each word of the first line may be accepted either as a noun or as an adjective, thus according different meanings to the interpretation of the opening phrases. For example, if Sri Krishnena is taken as the noun and the other words as adjectives, the opening phrase means, by the mercy of Sri Krishna, who is the master of the entire world and who has appeared here as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If Guruna is taken as the noun, the phrase means, by the mercy of my spiritual master, who is the bona fide representative of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Srila Rupa Goswami. If Chaitanya Rupena is taken as the noun, the phrase means, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Sri Krishna himself, the master of all the worlds. If Chaitanya Rupena is taken as the noun, the phrase may also be understood to mean, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Srila Rupa Goswami, who is the representative of Sri Krishna and the spiritual master of all the Vaishnavas. Sri Vrajabhumi Cintamani, Chapter 2. This chapter describes the beauty of the Lord's transcendental pastimes, his eagerness to enjoy them, and other topics. Verse 1. Nandishvara Hill is like a monarch in the center of Vrajabhumi, and around it are many different kinds of forests, where there are many splendid desire trees, desire vines, groves, pastime places, and colorful birds. Verse 2. Passing the mewing of peacocks, the young goddesses of Vraja walk along the forest path, holding each other by the hand as they follow their master and mistress at the time of transcendental pastimes. Verse 3. Wild rams have chewed fragrant kakola berries, and wild buffaloes with their horns have torn the bark and branches of fragrant karala trees. All this has made the Vraja forest very aromatic. Verse 4. Wild elephants have broken the tender young branches of fragrant salaki trees, and wild buffaloes have spread the aroma of fresh grass by their grazing. All this has made the Vraja forest very aromatic. Verse 5. In some places, the ground of the forest is covered with bunches of grapes, partly eaten by monkeys, and in other places ripe mangoes have fallen on the ground. All this has made the Vraja forest very beautiful. Verse 6. Aborigine girls wearing nice earrings, their faces fragrantly anointed with plantain juice, and camphor crushed by hand, walk in Vraja's forest, carrying bunches of peppers and other articles. Verses 7 to 10. The forests of Vraja are splendidly beautiful, being filled with many rasala, panasa, amrataka, shridhala, jambu, palasa, pugasana, coconut, madhuka, punnaga, shirisha, priya, bilva, arjuna, karmaranga, kapitha, lodha, priya, lavali, ashoka, lakucha, harira, sampaka, tamala, navamalika, jatidvaya, raya bilva, koshataki, parkatika, vata, ashvatha, sala, khadira and shami trees, all of which have many wonderful splendid fruits and flowers, and are also filled with many lavanga and various other beautiful vines, along with many parrots and other birds, as well as many wild beasts. Verse 11. In Vraja there are many splendid ponds, pools, lakes and rivers, all filled with many white, blue, red, yellow, multicolored Kahlara, Padma and Utpala lotus flowers, as well as many swans and other water birds. Verse 12. In some places the ground of Vraja is made of camphor dust. In some places it is saffron. In some places it is made of ground musk, and in some places it is made of the aromatic substances used in religious ceremonies. Verse 13. In some places the ground of Vraja is made of emeralds, and in other places it is made of a variety of precious gems. In some places the fresh grasses of Vraja, which are eaten by the cows and other animals, is made of emeralds. Verse 14. In some places the ground of Vraja looks just like a golden Jambu river, and in other places it is made of sapphires. Sometimes, when Krishna enjoys pastimes with Radhika, it seems there is only one person and not two. It seems that either there is only Sri Krishna enjoying pastimes in a golden place, or there is only Radhika enjoying pastimes in a sapphire place. Verse 15. In some places the ground of Vraja is made of emeralds, and the trees, bushes and creepers are made of gold. In other places the ground is gold, and the trees are emeralds. Verse 16. In some places the ground of Vraja is made of rubies, and the trees and vines are crystal. In other places the ground is crystal, and the trees and creepers are rubies. Verse 17. In some places emerald trees are embraced by golden vines, and in other places emerald vines embrace golden trees. Verse 18. In some places ruby vines embrace crystal trees, and in other places ruby trees are embraced by crystal vines. Verse 19. The trees are made of jewels. They have many jewel branches, various jewel twigs, and jewel flowers that carry a variety of fragrances. Verse 20. Jewel birds perch on the jewel branches. Jewels fall from the tree and cover the nearby area. They appear like a little jewel irrigation trench around the tree's roots. From the branches and roots of the trees of Vraja, all Brahmas and Shivas emanate. Although the trees of Vraja are as splendid as the sun, they still act as most wonderful parasols to shade one from the sun's rays. They shine with the luster of youth, just as the four Kumaras do. Verse 22. The trees of Vraja were never planted or husbanded. They never grew from any seed. They glisten with many leaves and flowers. They bear many ripe, unripe and ripening fruits. Verse 23. The splendid trees of Vrajabhumi are perfectly spiritual in nature and full of all potencies. They are just like the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as the conditioned souls misunderstand the spiritual nature of the Supreme Lord's incarnations. In the same way they misunderstand the glory of these trees in Vraja. Verse 24. Decorated with many wonderful leaves and flowers, and entwined about the Kalpavriksha trees, the splendid vines are like young girls continually embraced by their lovers. Verse 25. Splendid with many eternal flowers, fruits, and eternally sprouting fresh new buds, the vines fulfill all the desires of the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees. Verse 26. Sri Krishna, the moon of Vraja, enjoys pastimes and also rests in these groves, which are filled with many wonderful trees and vines, eternally blossoming with many beautiful flowers, even down to their roots. Verse 27. In the groves of Vraja, the cuckoos and bumblebees sing very melodiously. The plants are all splendidly beautiful. The chamari does gracefully move their tails, and the musk oxen diffuse a sweet aroma in all directions. Verse 28. In the grove of Vraja there is a little clearing, bounded on 4 sides by 4 kalpavriksha trees, each covered by 2 flowering vines. In the center of this little courtyard is a cottage made of jewels. Verse 29. 4 trees are the pillars of this cottage. Their branches and twigs are its roof, their flowers its domes and spires, the vines clinging to their sides its walls, and the opening among the vines its door. Verse 30. These beautiful cottages, which are found throughout Vraja's forests, remove the demigods' pride in their airplanes and attract even the residents of Vaikuntha. Verse 31. Vraja's forests, groves, creepers, trees, birds, beasts, and other living entities all blossom with happiness when Lord Mukunda glances on them, and they wilt with disappointment whenever he does not. Verse 32. North of Nandishvara is a forest where Lord Krishna enjoys the secret pastimes that are worshipped by 6 eager demigods in heaven. Verse 33. The Yamuna River passes through that forest and flows near Nandishvara hill. It winds through Vraja in a very crooked course, searching for Sri Krishna, the moon of Vraja. Verse 34. On the pretext of fetching water and other things, the gopis would go to that pastime forest and meet their beloved Krishna. They call this place Gopi Ghatta. Did the Lord agitate Ghatta, the gopis, with his pastimes there, or did he not? Verse 35. A treasure chest filled with the glory of Sri Krishna's pastimes, which decorate the worlds, the Bhandiravana forest of Druma and Vidruma trees, shines with great splendor. Verse 36. In that place are Munjatavi forest and many other beautiful charming groves and forests where the gopis keep many delightful gardens. Verse 37. In these groves the gopis meet their lover Krishna, converse with him, dance with him, and enjoy unlimited pastimes with him. In this way all their desires to serve Krishna become fulfilled. Verse 38. Among Vrindavana's splendid forests, which make the splendors of Vaikuntha seem very pale, the very beautiful forest named Vrindavana is the best. Verse 39. They who offer respectful obeisances to her or bathe in her waters, the Yamuna, which is like a moat of black mascara encircling Vrindavana, transform into pure devotees, carrying Lord Krishna in their hearts. Verse 40. The Yamuna River is like a blue lotus flower garland, a sapphire necklace, or a blue sash worn by the goddess of Vrindavana. Verse 41. Passing the 7 seas and 7 planetary systems and breaking through the 7-fold coverings of the universe, the Yamuna enters the spiritual Goloka planet and wanders here and there to serve Vrindavana by carrying water. Verse 42. Many greedy men will wait at a rich man's doorstep hoping to meet him and benefit hundreds of thousands of times over. In the same way, the Yamuna flows in a very winding course, greedy to get some of the wealth of Vrindavana's forest. The dark nectar current of the Yamuna picks up Lord Krishna and plunges him and his gopi friends in the dark nectar current of transcendental amorous pastimes. Verse 44. Many charming aquatic creatures, plunged in the nectar of love for Krishna, again and again push their heads above the Yamuna's waters, hoping for a glimpse of Lord Shyama. Verse 45. On both the Yamuna's beautiful shores are jeweled staircases which are like the teeth of the goddess of beauty, and which remind one of Sri Krishna. Verse 46. When they drink the sound of Krishna's flute, those two jewel staircases melt with love, and the river flowing between them becomes solid and stunned with ecstasy. Verse 47. In the moonlight, the Yamuna's beaches appear to be made of camphor sand. Lord Krishna enjoyed his Rasa Leela on these beaches, with each place bearing the name of a particular pastime. Verse 48. In the clearings of the splendid groves by the Yamuna's shore, birds fly here and there, yearning for a glimpse of Lord Govinda. Verse 49. Everywhere in Vrindavana and on the Yamuna's shores, the trees are trees that are like the Lord's incarnations, that give the gift of pure love, and that make one remember the Lord, making he, who is the moon of Vraja, suddenly rise within the heart. Verse 50. Everywhere in Vrindavana and on the Yamuna's shore are groves of ancient wonderful mango and other trees, which feed nectar to Lord Krishna's eyes. Verse 51. In Vrindavana are grapevines, flower gardens, groves of plantain trees, golden pavements, a mountain of precious gems, and a grove of kalpavriksha trees. Verse 52. In some places of Vrindavana, there are large groves of a single kind of tree. In other places, 2 or 3 different kinds of trees grow together, and in other places, there are groves that contain a great variety of different trees. Verse 53. Are any other flowers equal to the mango flowers of Vraja? Where are trees equal in height to the great 5-branched mango trees growing in Vraja? Even if one were to fashion a great statue of a tree, it would be very difficult to make one as high as these mango trees. Verse 54. In some places in Vraja, there are groves of tamala trees, and in other places there are opulent and wonderfully colorful groves, filled with many different kinds of trees. Krishna's enemies have never been able to enter any of these groves of Vraja. Verse 55. With many lovely jewel palaces in their groves, Vrindavana and other forests are splendidly manifest everywhere in Vraja. Verse 56. Even if one thinks Vrindavana an ordinary material place, he must still admit that Vrindavana enchants the minds of Vaikuntha's residents. He must also admit that Vrindavana's gardens delight the king who enjoys pastimes there. Verse 57. Generally, the 6 seasons come one after another, and the qualities of only one season are manifest at any given time. But here in Vrindavana, he who is the moon of Vrindavana can enjoy the pastimes of any season at any time. Verse 58. In Vrindavana, all the seasons are eternal, and they all diligently serve Sri Krishna, the moon of Vrindavana. The gopis decorate Sri Krishna with garlands and other ornaments made from the flowers of many different seasons. Verse 59. In Vrindavana, the gardens of all the gopis beloveds of Vrindavana's moon, Krishna, shine with great splendor. A single ray of those gardens' splendor eclipses the Brahmani Falguns. Verse 60. The animals, birds, trees, vines, and all other living entities that reside in Vrindavana yearn to see the rising of Vrindavana's moon, Krishna. Verse 61. Originally there was only one kalpavriksha tree in Vrindavana, and the other trees attained the qualities of kalpavriksha trees by that tree's association. In the same way, there is only one Sri Krishna, the master of Vrindavana, and by enjoying pastimes with him, his friends have attained qualities just like his. Verse 62. Although all the trees in Vrindavana are Kalpavruksha trees, still one among them is especially glorious. This tree grows next to a jewel palace in a supremely charming grove. Verse 63. This palace has many wings, 5, 6, 8 or even 9 stories high. Each wing has a courtyard shaped like a lotus ball with 8 petals. Verse 64. The residential quarters of the devotees overlook these courtyards. Within the beautiful palace's courtyards, again there are 8 smaller palaces. Verse 65. These 8 palaces are placed in the 8 directions, and in the middle is placed that eternal Kalpavruksha tree, which, with its many branches, protects the devotees from the enemies of the Lord. Verse 66. This grove with 9 palaces is surrounded in all directions by 8 other groves, each with 9 palaces. Beyond these groves and palaces, there are more groves and palaces. Verse 67. In the best of these Kalpavruksha groves is the splendid palace of Vrindavana's queen. Around her palace are the palaces of her gopi friends, and around them are the residences of her maidservants. Verse 68. Staying in her palace by her lover's side, the queen of the gopis shines with great splendor. The residences of the other gopis are situated around her palace. Verse 69. Around this central Kalpavruksha tree is a grove with many very wonderful palaces, just as Mukunda's beloved would desire them. Verse 70. This abode of Sri Radha Krishna is called Govardhana, the abode of Lord Govinda in the Puranas, and Yoga Pitha, the transcendental place in the Tantras. In this book, we call it Sri Kunjaraja, the King of Groves. Verse 71. To the south is the regal, wonderfully constructed place of Sri Radha Krishna's swing pastimes. The beauty of this place has been eloquently described in the Ananda Vrindavana Champu. Verse 72. Far to the south is Govinda Kund, the lake of Lord Govinda, the husband of the goddess of fortune. Around this lake are many groves filled with buzzing bees. Verse 73. To the north is Brahma Kund, surrounded by many pleasant groves. To the north of Brahma Kund is an Ashoka grove that enchants the divine couple and, as a thief, has stolen away their peaceful gravity. Verse 74. North of that is Gopisha, where, worshipped by them, Lord Shiva had pleased the gopis' hearts by giving them the benediction to enjoy pastimes with Lord Krishna. Verse 75. A little north of that, at Vamshivata, which is like a splendid dancer on the Yamuna's shore, Sri Krishna attracted his beloved by playing the flute. Verse 76. North of that is Nidhuvan, the mere name of which attracts the ears and heart. Delighting his beloved, Sri Krishna disappeared from the company of gopis who were eager to enjoy the rasa dance there. Verse 77. To the southwest, in a jasmine garden, is Suryaspada, where Sri Radhika worships the sun god with a newly blossomed red rose. Verse 78. In the northwest is Bhadrakali Tirtha, where at the base of a Kadamba tree the gopis worshipped the goddess Bhadrakali for a long time, and where the thief Krishna stole the gopis' garments. Verse 79. In the southeast is Vignaraja Tirtha, where Sri Krishna incarnated in the form of a deity of Ganesha. Constantly afraid of separation from their beloved, the gopis earnestly worshipped this deity and became quickly convinced that they would always have Krishna's association. Verse 80. To the east is Sri Venukupa, the flute's well, which is filled with the waters of love. Sri Krishna pleased his beloved by creating this well with the music of his flute. Verse 81. In the midst of the Rasa dance, Radha and Krishna left the gopis' company and enjoyed pastimes in a solitary place. When Radha became thirsty, Krishna created this well, Sri Venukupa, by playing his flute. Verse 82. In the grove named Shrungara Shanti, Krishna decorated his beloved under a tree named Shrungara Vata, which can be seen and glorified even today. Verse 83. One time, when Sri Krishna had gone a little distance from Vamshi Vata, a gentle (dhira) breeze (samira) sprang up from his flute playing. That place became known as Dhira Samira Tirtha. Verse 84. Although the entire shoreline of the Yamuna shines with the love of Krishna, I think the area of Vamshi Vata not only shines but actually dances in ecstatic love. Verse 85. Every evening, Vrunda Devi and the other gopis make elaborate arrangements for Sri Krishna to take rest in the beautiful forest palaces of Vraja. When he sees this, he becomes struck with wonder. Verse 86. Every morning the gopis bring betel nuts and other gifts. Seeing this, Sri Krishna becomes struck with wonder, and his heart begins to melt with love for them. Seeing his love for them, the gopis also began to melt with love. Verse 87. This book, Sri Riti Cintamani, gives a brief description of Sri Krishna's abode, the forest of Vrindavana, as it is splendidly manifest in the area around Nandishvara Palace. The second chapter has described the beauty of the Lord's transcendental pastimes, his eagerness to enjoy them, and other topics. Sri Vrajabhumi Cintamani, Chapter 3. This chapter describes the glories of 3 secret places of Vraja and their surrounding areas, while briefly mentioning some of the pastimes which the divine couple relished at these places. Govardhana Hill and selected places around it in verses 1 to 29, Radha Kund and Shyama Kund and places around them in verses 29 to 46, Kamyavan and its surroundings in verses 47 to 57. Verse 1. Govardhana Hill is like a flag of intense sweetness placed in the opulent land of Vrindavana. As the king of mountains, Govardhana Hill offers very pleasing royal service to the young prince of Vraja. Verse 2. The rocks of Govardhana Hill are many kinds of splendid jewels that provide thrones, couches and other kinds of furniture for Sri Krishna, the supreme monarch of all nectarean transcendental mellows. Verse 3. Govardhana Hill's beautiful forests and caves are Krishna's nectarean pastime palaces, each one perfect for the supreme good fortune of his beloved and her friends. Verse 4. Govardhana Hill's trees and vines serve Sri Krishna by offering him blossoming branches full of sweet fruits and flowers that are filled with honey, nectar and fragrant pollen. Verse 5. The red, vermilion, yellow and other colored pigments of Govardhana Hill decorate Lord Krishna's transcendental body for the pleasure of his beloved gopis. Verse 6. The musk left by deer, as well as the kumkuma, camphor and aguru naturally produced by Govardhana Hill, were all used to give a sweet fragrance to the transcendental body of Lord Krishna. Verse 7. There is a pleasant grove of sandalwood trees on Govardhana Hill. Although snakes generally flock to sandalwood trees, no snakes ever come here, or if sometimes a snake may come, it is not poisonous, or if sometimes a poisonous snake may come, its poison is automatically counteracted and it can do no harm. as the best servant of Lord Hari, Govardhana Hill has made this wonderful arrangement for the Lord's pleasure. Verse 8. One time, a contrary fawn-eyed gopi left Sri Krishna. A short time afterwards, she saw a snake on the road. Frightened, she took shelter of Lord Krishna, embracing him and begging for protection. As Lord Hari's best servant, Govardhana Hill made all these nectarean arrangements for his transcendental rasa. Footnote. This verse may also be translated in the following way. Rejected by a certain contrary fawn-eyed gopi, Sri Krishna said, I have just been bitten by one of Govardhana Hill's snakes. When the gopi heard this, she became repentant and came before the Lord with many apologies. As Lord Hari's best servant, Govardhana Hill made all these arrangements for his transcendental rasa. Verse 9. The rocks of Govardhana Hill are all precious gems. Some are sapphires, some emeralds, some rubies or crystals. They provide the perfect backdrop for Lord Krishna's pastimes. Verse 10. If, while walking on Govardhana Hill, Krishna's elder brother Balaram sees a series of golden stones, he thinks, the daughter of King Vrishabhanu must have just now walked before me, and he changes course to avoid an awkward situation. In the same way, if she sees a series of crystal stones, she thinks, Balaram must have just now walked before me, and she changes her course. Verse 11. If, on Govardhana Hill, who is the best of Lord Hari's servants, Sri Krishna sees a golden stone, he takes it to be his beloved. In the same way, if his beloved sees a sapphire, she assumes it is her lover. Verse 12. The gopis' necklaces, ornaments, red foot cosmetic, betel nuts, and other paraphernalia gaze upon the beauty of Govardhana Hills, groves, and caves. Who would not become enchanted by the beauty of Govardhana Hill? Sri Krishna is the sapphire, and the gopis are the golden necklaces which ornament Govardhana Hill. The pastimes of Krishna and the gopis are the sons and daughters of Govardhana Hill. Who is able to describe the glories of Govardhana Hill? Verse 14. The peacocks dance enthusiastically, the bees and cuckoos sing melodiously, and many other birds chirp a rhythmic accompaniment as they all gaze upon the service to Lord Hari done by Govardhana Hill, the best of Lord Hari's servants. Verse 15. The land around Govardhana Hill, in all directions, is filled with many lakes, groves, and other charming places of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Many lovely streams flow from Govardhana Hill onto these lands in all directions. Verse 16. To the east is Dina-Anukampana Kunda. When Sri Radhika's handsome beloved remembers it, he begins to tremble, and the hairs on his body stand erect. Verse 17. To the east of that is Chandra Sarovar, where the divine couple enjoyed many rasa dances. The memory of this place makes them dance in ecstatic love. Verse 18. Southeast of Govardhana Hill is Sankarshanananda Sarovara, and to the east of that is Gauri Tirtha, which is scrupulously avoided by Gauri's husband, Lord Shiva. Verse 19. The nectar flood of supreme good fortune rising from his eternal pastimes with her has made her beloved supremely learned in the philosophy of forest pastimes. Verse 20. In between Sankarshana Sarovara and Dina-Anukampana Kunda is Anandaraja Tirtha, where the Maha-Annakuta festival delighted the young prince of Vraja. Verse 21. West of that are two splendid places in the mouth of Krishna's pastimes. They are Sri Dhana Ghata and Sri Sumani Ghata, where the divine couple playfully talked and joked. At this place, the divine couple enjoyed the playful choral pastime known as Dana-Keli. Who would not be astonished by this pastime? When this pastime enters the ears, it makes both the body and mind dance. Verse 23. Govardhana Hill resembles a gigantic peacock that has Govinda Kund as its tail. The Manasa Ganga, where the divine couple eternally enjoys both sailing pastimes, enters into the waters of Govinda Kund. Verse 24. If one hears about the divine couple's boat sailing pastimes, he will become stunned in ecstasy, and it will not be possible for him to stop hearing about them. Verse 25. On the Manasa Ganga's shores are many Madhavi vine pavilions with the nectar beauty of all the three worlds. There the divine couple enjoys splendid pastimes that are eternally manifest in the hearts of those who remember them. Verse 26. With its nearby forest groves and the limitless nectar-trickling flowers in its waters, Kusum Sarovar shines with great splendor. Is it the handsome face of Govardhana Hill, the king of mountains? Verse 27. This lake is known as Kusum Sarovar because of the many blossoming flowers destined to become gopis in the future who grow in its waters. Simply by once bathing in this Kusum Sarovara, Narada Muni attained a gopi form. This fact is directly confirmed in the words of the enchanting Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 28. The Supreme Personality of Godhead eternally enjoys pastimes on Govardhana Hill. He personally lifted Govardhana Hill with his own hand to protect his cowherd associates. Who is able to describe the glories of Govardhana Hill, the best of Lord Hari's servants? Verse 29. Radha Kund and Shyama Kund are Govardhan's two love-filled eyes. Because it nourishes the Gopas, Gopis and Surabhi cows, with Lord Madhava's sweetness, it shines with the name Govardhana. Verse 30. Shyama Kunda and Radha Kunda are two great floods of the nectar of beauty. They are two great oceans of splendor. They are two beautiful roots from which sweet devotional service grows. Verse 31. They are two jeweled mines of love. They are two seeds from which grow the jewel vines of transcendental pastimes. How did they become two splendid and nectar-sweet lakes? Verse 32. By seeing these two lakes, Radha and Krishna believe they are present in them. It is as if they directly see each other there. The wise say that by approaching these lakes, one directly approaches Radha and Krishna. Verse 33. Longing to meet but forced to remain separate, Radha and Krishna assumed the forms of Radha Kund and Shyama Kund. In this way, they become splashed with the nectar of meeting each other. Verse 34. I think that when Radha saw Krishna, she melted with ecstasy and thus assumed the liquid state of the waters of Radha Kund. And in the same way, when Krishna saw Radha, he also melted in ecstasy and became the waters of Shyama Kund. In this way, these two lakes bear the names and qualities of the divine couple. Verse 35. Out of great kindness to the people, so they could directly taste their sweetness, Radha and Krishna have become these two lakes. Shining with happiness, the devotees bathe in these two lakes. Verse 36. I think these two lakes are the divine couple's love. They who are fortunate bathe there. Because bathing there is like bathing in their transcendental love, these two lakes bear the names of the divine couple. Verse 37. Spelled backwards in Sanskrit, the word Sara, lake, becomes Rasa, nectar. They who are aware of this great secret bathe in these two lakes. Verse 38. Wishing to see their sweet pastimes in the forest, the two lakes have become the divine couple's two pet chakora birds. Verse 39. Limitlessly beautiful Sri Radha Kund is filled with the divine couple's great love. On every side are the groves of Radha's friends and the humming of many bees. 40. To the north is a jewel lotus garden named Lalita Pramoda. To the north is a flower garden named Vishakha Pramada. Verse 41. To the east is Chitra Pramoda, a wonderful garden of colorful flowers. To the southeast is Purnendu Kunja, the delight of Indulekha Gopi. To the south is Prema Kunj, the delight of Champakalata Gopi. Sri Radha slips away from the protection of her mother-in-law Jatila to meet Krishna in this grove. Verse 42. In the southwest is the sapphire-studded grove named Neela Nikunja, the delight of Sri Rangadevi Gopi. Once Radha's mother-in-law Jatila happened upon the divine couple sitting together in this sapphire grove. Jatila could not see Krishna, whose bodily luster camouflaged him against the background of sapphires. Jatila thought Radha was sitting alone. She glorified her daughter-in-law and quickly left. Verse 44. To the west is Aruna Kunja, the red flower-filled grove that is the delight of Tunga Vidya Gopi. To the northwest is the green grove Marakata Kunja, grove of emeralds, which is the delight of Sudevi Gopi. Placed over the waters in the middle of Radha Kund is a wonderful jewel palace where Ananga Manjari with great love serves the divine couple. Without love and devotion, who is able to know about this palace? Verse 46. All the groves, paths, and various places around Radha Kund are filled with the nectar of Lord Govinda's pastimes. All these places are elaborately described in Srila Krishna Dasa Kapiraja Goswami's book, Sri Govinda Leelamrita. Verse 47. To the south and west of Nandishvara Hill are Kamyavana forest and many other beautiful places, such as Pramatta Radha Tirtha, where the divine couple enjoy many confidential pastimes. Verse 48. When the fragrance of the divine couple's pastimes of sweetness enter this place, the powerful goddess of the pastimes of supreme opulence hides. Verse 49. At the place known as Lanka Kunda, Lord Mukunda delighted Sri Radhika by narrating Lord Ramachandra's pastimes of bridging the great ocean and travelling to Lanka. Verse 50. As Sri Radha Madhava converse during the wonderful Dukayana pastimes in Kamyavana, they manifest a great transcendental sweetness that astonishes their gopi friends. Verse 51. Because of its many charming (Kamya) forests, groves and lakes, where Lord Krishna relishes the sweetness of his pastimes, this place is known as Kamyavana. Verse 52. Beside a lake there, at the place the people call Shantanu Vasa, is a sun god deity Sri Radha worships. On the pretext of seeing that deity, she gives him a chance to see her. Verse 53. In Kamyavana is a mountain named Chadishila, roof of rocks. There, Krishna enjoyed many wonderful pastimes. There Krishna wept tears of joy. There Krishna played guessing games and spoke many playful words. Verse 54. Nanda Maharaja, who made his new home at Kamyavan, disguised as a small lake, the ocean of jewels stood at his doorstep. Nearby were Lalita Kund and other charming lakes where the Lord enjoyed pastimes. Verse 55. In Kamyavan, there is a place where the gopis drank the nectar of the divine couple's playful conversation and saw the divine couple become maddened by their mutual touch. The gopis came from all directions, Vichhedaga, to see the divine couple, and therefore this place became known as Vichhedaga Tirtha. Verse 56. In Kamyavan, there is a place where Lakshmi Devi performed severe austerities to become a gopi. Although she remained Lakshmi and did not attain her goal, she nevertheless had the opportunity to speak with her beloved Krishna. Verse 57. In Kamyavan, there is a place where Lord Krishna manifested the milk ocean, expanded himself as Anantashesha, transformed himself into Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and then sat down on the body of Ananta. Srimati Radharani then became the beautiful Lakshmi Devi, who, with humbly bowed head, began to massage Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. This sight greatly delighted Srimati Radharani's onlooking gopi friends. Verse 58. In the 12 forests of Vraja, there are many groves filled with charming palaces, where Lord Krishna, the moon of Vrindavana, performs pastimes with his dear associates. These places are filled with such transcendental opulence that they cause the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, to weep with envy. Verse 59. The Vedas explain that there are 24 important gardens in Lord Hari's Vraja. Among these is Kokilakanana, which is filled with the singing of cuckoos. Verse 60. The supremely sweet and incomparable land of Vrindavana is the blissful abode where the Supreme Personality of Godhead performs his pastimes. This Vrindavana is the incarnation of the Lord's form and is non-different from him. I have briefly described this land of Vrindavana in this book, Sri Riti Cintamani, which is completed in this, the last verse of the 3rd chapter. Jaya Sri Riti Cintamani ki Jaya, Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur Maharaj ki Jaya.